Welcome to episode 64 of Finding Your Hidden Superpower Autism, Asperger's, and those of us who are neurodiverse. So, today I'm going to introduce you to a concept called the microbiome. The microbiome is the gene expression caused by all our gut bacteria and all of our bacteria that's in our body, and also our viruses that are not hurting us but actually are in our body as well. Um, so some of you, this may be very new, but this has been going on. I've been studying this on and off for many years. Um, but this is the first time I'm really going to address it. So, this is an article in the journal Science, which is one of the most prestigious journals on scientific discoveries that there is. This was produced in May 30th of 2019. So it's not that old, but they've been figuring this stuff out. So the title of it is called Gut Bacteria May Contribute to Autism Symptoms, Mouse Study Finds. What they were doing is they do what's called a fecal transplant. Yes, they take your poop, your feces, and they can implant it into something or somebody else. And depending on what's inside that poop, if it's healthy poop, it may be able to help people um, change their behaviors, change their health, and heal themselves. Or if it's unhealthy poop, they may get sicker, they may act more disturbed, they may have more emotional problems and behavioral problems. And the key reason is because of the bacteria within the poop. And the poop, what can happen is that the gene expression, because all these bacteria have genes and produce certain chemicals in our body, and they can put wherever the poop goes. That's where the genes are going to affect, and the bacteria and the chemicals produced by the bacteria can affect somebody in a good way or in a bad way. So this study showed that genes are a powerful driver of risk of autism, but some researchers suspect another factor is also at play, a set of bacteria that inhabits the gut. This idea has been controversial, but some new study offers support to the gut-brain link. So there's actually the vagus nerve, which I haven't even got into, which is a nerve that travels through all of the organs, going from the gut all the way up to our brain. And as far as it gets signals, and some of those signals can come from our gut. It can come from the expression of the genes from the bacteria that are being produced in the gut. And it can affect your mood as well and your behaviors. And so, it talks about to test the effects of the gut microbiome on behavior, a microbiologist from Caltech in Pasadena and collaborators put feces samples from children with and without autism into the stomachs of germ-free mice, which had no microbiomes of their own. The researchers then mated pairs of mice colonized with the same microbiomes, so their offspring would be exposed to a set of human microbes early in development. The researchers then ran these offspring through behavioral tests typically used to gauge autism like symptoms in mice. They recorded low frequency, how frequently a mouse vocalized and how often it approached and interacted with other mice. They also tried to approximate the repetitive behavior seen in some people with autism by scattering marbles around a cage and counting how many mice buried the marbles, compared with mice colonized with bacteria from children without autism. The mice then inherited the microbiome from a child with autism, were less social, and showed more repetitive behaviors than the mice that were colonized with the bacteria from non autistic children. So, um, so one of the things that they found is that, in particular, mice harboring microbes from people with autism had lower levels of the amino acid called taurine and something called 5-amino valeric acid, known as 5-AV, molecules that are known to bind to neurons and inhibit their activity. That finding fits with the theory that an imbalance between excitatory and inhibitory signals in the brain may underlie autism. The team also found with a different strain of mouse known to develop autism like symptoms that feeding the animals either taurine or 5-AV led to more social interaction and less repetitive behavior. So there are still a lot of missing links. They still got to study this more because they're not doing this on human subjects. They're doing this on mice. But one of the things is that a lot of these studies would be completely unethical if done on humans. And so they have to do them on mice. And then they have to come up with some other studies so they can study how human behavior works. So, also another thing is that when the researchers looked at the contents of the mouse gut, they found differences between the groups at a level of 27 metabolites. So, a metabolite is a chemical that's being produced by bacteria. So, they had differences in 27 different metabolites, in which what they have to do is they have to investigate what these metabolites can do and then determine if these differences had anything to do with the behaviors. Because just because something produces something, it may be neutral, it may be positive, it may be negative. And as we can see, us socially diverse people, we can, as I talked about earlier, we can communicate well with another neurodiverse person, but we don't communicate well with a neurotypical person unless we have a lot of behavioral, behavioral understanding. So CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or just behavioral therapy in general, and focusing on what our weaknesses and what our strengths are, and trying to match those and communicate better to neurotypical people. But I will be looking into this, and I will get more into this in the future because I wanted to become a microbiologist and study the microbiome. I just, unfortunately, I didn't have the math skills, and so I switched over uh, to psychology. So have a great day, and please click and subscribe and let your friends know about these videos if they're helpful to you. And even if they're not that helpful to you, they may be helpful to somebody else. So please let people know. And I thank you and have a great day.